The easiest way to get into the meditative state is to begin by listening.
Okay, welcome to How to Think Like a Genius Step-by-Step Guide. Quick disclaimer, I'm not telling you that I am a genius. I am synthesizing the information that has triggered an action which led me to a major transformation in my collective consciousness. The purpose of this video is to share the information that led me to this transformation and my discovery on behavioral science based on my research into the correlation of geniuses. My goal for this video is for you to understand this information in my attempt to raise the collective consciousness of humanity. Okay, so what I want to add to the disclaimer is that all this stuff is highly theoretical. Okay, these are theories that I believe to be the truth based on the information that I have gathered. All right. And the only proof that I have is me. The only proof that I have is that it's my journey, and I'm attaching my face to it. I'm attaching my name to it. I'm attaching my entire reputation to this. That's how strongly I believe for this to be the truth. But with that being said, I still have research to do. I still have deep thinking sessions to have, and I still have a series of actions to take. So I'm going to give you the core idea of this video just off the bat so that you can analyze whether or not this is the right video for you. For the next 2 minutes, I just want you to figure out if this is the right video for you to watch. So the first core idea is that geniuses are created through paradigm shifts. The second core idea is how we explore how you can create a paradigm shift in order to become a genius. So these are the two core ideas that we're going to be exploring, okay? Now, the lessons are broken up into 8 different sections, okay? And it's imperative that you watch this video in order of these lessons. So the lessons are as follows. Part 1 is going to be the significance of IPO, input, process, and output. Lesson 2 will be about how Isaac Newton leveraged IPO. Part 3, Newton's relationship with Einstein. Part 4, the transformational process. Part 5, the Coon cycle. Part 6, the importance of synthesizing. Part 7, the experiment, how I implemented all of this knowledge into my life and how it's completely changed my life. And then Part 8, what my next steps are in life. So these are the lessons and sections and parts of the video. And like I said, it's very important that you actually watch them in order, okay? Now, is this video for you? Okay, so this is the golden question for the moment. The first question to ask yourself is, do you have the ability to focus? Because focus is something that's hard to come by these days. People don't understand it, and people don't know how to leverage it. And my generation is having a very hard time with it. So the first question to ask yourself is, do you actually have the ability to sit down and watch a 30-minute video? If the answer is no, then let me save you some time and just ask you to click off this video, okay? Because if you don't have the ability to focus, you're in the wrong place. But if you do have the ability to focus, great. Let's get to the next question. Is your mind open to new ideas, right? Like, is your mind malleable enough to receive new information and to explore new concepts? Because this is another big bottleneck that humans face, is that they don't actually have the ability to receive new ideas. But for this video, I want you to be the person that can receive new ideas. Even if you don't agree with if you don't agree with a single word that I say, I still want you to be able to explore the ideas. Because if you disagree, I would love to know and I would love to speak with you. So great. If your answer is yes to these questions, then this video might just be for you. And I should quickly give a trigger warning as well. So it's important that you watch this video at your own pace and that you understand the risks of watching this video. The risks involved for watching this video is that this video might make you feel emotional. This video might make you feel vulnerable, and this video might make you feel in pain. And it's going to make a lot of sense as you watch the video, but these are the three things that you need to realize. And if you're not in the mental state to feel emotional or vulnerable or in pain, then I would suggest saving this video for later. But if you feel happy and you're ready to explore the information of genius, then fantastic. We're gonna dive into it right now. Everybody, it's Finn here, back with another video. So the purpose of this video is to transform you into the best possible version you could possibly be. Now, I will say we're going to get into some very deep topics in this video. I'm not even 100% sure if I will upload this to the internet, just because the information that I am receiving is so incredibly powerful that if it ends up in the wrong minds, it can be very, very destructive. But I believe that I'm a strong enough synthesizer to be able to give this information to you in a way that you can digest it and make it constructive, right? To build and grow good things. So without further ado, let's get into it. What to understand first is an analogy, okay? So just imagine food, okay? I want to start off with cooking. The meals that you eat every single day in your life depend entirely on the ingredients that you put into the meal, right? So the meal that you eat depend on the ingredients that you have entirely. So if you put unhealthy ingredients in the cooking process, the meal is going to be unhealthy, no matter what the process is in between, right? And then if we inverse that, if we find the inversion of that, we find that if we use healthy ingredients, the meal ends up becoming healthy, right? So we've got the same process, except the outcome is different. So now I want you to imagine that the ingredients is information, that the cooking is your mind processing that information, your mind eating up that information, and that the meal is the reality of your mind. Okay? Now, if you're still following me, great, because the rabbit hole is not even in sight yet. It goes so much deeper. Since the beginning of time, right, since the beginning that you were first born, your brain has been processing and eating information that has shaped your reality, okay? And this information has triggered decisions that you have made in your life that have led you to this very moment with you watching this video right now, okay? So those decisions have brought you to this very point in time and space, right? The information that your mind eats up and the information that your mind processes ends up shaping the reality around you. This relates to geniuses. Well, all humans are born from the same point, right? I'm a strong believer that the information that humans process ends up shaping their reality, right? And it's the same with a genius. The difference between geniuses and the average person is that geniuses have used the right ingredients with the right process in order to get their desired outcome over a time horizon, whereas the average human was using the wrong ingredients with the wrong process and in turn receiving the wrong output over a time horizon. Okay? Genius found in geniuses depends entirely on the information that they consumed over a time horizon, okay? It depends entirely on the information that these geniuses pondered upon and found in their lifetime. And I'm about to prove it to you, and I'm going to show you how you can use this to hack your entire life.
The second sound is normally louder than the first. In the same individual.
The first genius that we're going to be talking about is Isaac Newton, arguably one of the most profound minds in history. Isaac Newton, he created the paradigm of gravity, essentially, and he also created calculus, which is a very, very important mathematical genius that has been used by many other geniuses to create more genius. So Isaac Newton, fun fact about him, he's from here in the UK. He actually died in Kensington in 1727, which is great because I'm in Kensington right now. That's the Royal Albert Hall right there. Fun little fact for you. Isaac Newton once said, "I've seen further than others. It is by standing upon the shoulders of giants." Okay? So what Isaac meant by this is that he had idols, okay? He had people that he was influenced by. He had people that he looked up to. He had information that he consumed, right? And he was able to see his vision and the reality that he wanted to create by standing on the shoulders of these influences, these idols. And this is very, very profound information to understand, because it's all connected, okay? The rabbit hole goes much deeper. I believe that Isaac Newton was trying to articulate with this quote. He was able to find his genius by synthesizing the information he found through his giants, right, which were his idols. And by standing on the shoulders, aka synthesizing, he was able to become one of the most influential minds in history. So what Isaac Newton did was synthesize the knowledge of his idols, right? And his idols were Galileo, Kepler, and Copernicus. Actually, it's about 14 of them, but these three were the main prominent ones, but there were plenty more. Okay, so by adopting the mental models, the paradigms that these idols laid out for him, he was able to see the world through their paradigm, which allowed him to create any reality that he wanted, all from his mind. So he took the information found in his idols, applied the process in order to get the desired outcome for his reality, right? Take a look at another genius. Fast forward 100 years, okay, from Isaac Newton. Now we have Einstein walking the planet, okay? Now Einstein is a very interesting one because he took a lot of information from Newton, right? So Newton created the book Principia, which means principles, okay? And he created the principles of calculus. And calculus was the very fabric of what Einstein was uncovering through his studies, right? I'll put the formula up here. Einstein uncovered this by using a paradigm that was created by Newton, okay? So if Newton didn't synthesize the information of his giants, his idols, then Einstein would have never come across this theory. And just like Newton, what Einstein did was he took information, right? Took ingredients from different idols, he applied it to his process, and then he got the desired outcome. And then he transformed the world. His big conclusion was that objects fall simply because they're being pulled by the Earth's gravity. For almost 200 years later, Einstein adapted the interpretation, and Einstein made the interpretation into a much stronger, much more sufficient formula. Einstein was a genius because he was successfully able to pull off this cycle, this flywheel, that allowed him to transform Newton's discovery. And he did this through focus and by getting the correct information, applying the right process in order to get the outcome. Favorite quotes from Einstein is that the imagination is more important than knowledge. And it's such a beautiful quote because Einstein needed to use his imagination and have the courage to question such a great mind as Newton, right? Imagine going up against one of the greatest minds in history. Imagine waking up in the morning and saying, let's test Einstein's theory. I think I could challenge that. Most people choose not to, right? The thing to take away from all this so far is that geniuses become this way because of a transformation that occurs through the information that they're feeding into their brain. They often start out thinking exactly like their idols, just how Einstein used Newton, and then what they do is they flip it upside down. They find the inversion of that. So they kind of adopt these mental models which allow them to see through a specific paradigm in order to create a massive, powerful paradigm shift in the universe. They actually have this transformative shift, but then they actually synthesize that and transcend all of that information into their body of work. And that's how the great geniuses are remembered. That's why they are remembered, because they were able to take action. A lot of people in life are genius, but they don't know it because and they don't take the action because of the limiting beliefs that they inflict on their minds, because of the information that they probably have consumed over their lifetime that have led them to that point. All that's taking place in all this is cause and effect. These geniuses understand that the decisions that they make in their lifetime have the potential to last a millennia. So what they do is they take their day-to-day life very seriously by mastering self-actualization, mastering decision-making, taking, the correct action, and making sure that they're producing asymmetry with the work that they produce, which is essentially where two points come together in order to have a big effect. Kind of like a butterfly effect, right? Where a small action has a massive, massive reaction. It inputs information with the correct process, thinking, creates the desired output. That's what you need to understand. Once you adopt this mindset, the goals that you achieve in life simply start becoming a byproduct of who you are naturally, right? What drives most people into depression is when they identify themselves with their goals, and that the goals that they have achieved in life is what makes them them. When the real power comes from identifying with the self, and then that your goals are just a byproduct of you. You don't want to achieve the goals in life. You want to become the person that achieves the goals in life effortlessly, continuously and continuously. And there's a hack for this. There's a cycle in life that you can actually employ to create any manifestation you want and see it come to life and fruition. The flywheel that I'm going to articulate with you is really where the power lies in this video. The value comes from understanding this flywheel, but I'm not going to give it to you yet, because you need to understand a few other profound details before you can start to fathom this, okay? Which is why I want to start by actually defining what a paradigm shift is, where the word came from, who invented it. What is a paradigm shift? A paradigm shift is a fundamental change of approach to underlying assumptions, right? It's a fundamental kind of shift in your mind to what you believe the reality to be real and what you believe to be true. This is a paradigm shift. If you've ever had a moment in your life where you've questioned reality, or where you've learned something, or where you've gained access to new knowledge and new information that made you see the world differently, this is simply a download in your brain known as a paradigm shift. Geniuses leverage this paradigm shift to the maximum, full throttle. They put the utility up to the maximum, and they're having paradigm shifts every day. It's crazy. The term paradigm shift was first introduced by a man named Thomas Coon. Thomas Coon presented his notion of the paradigm shift through his book called of Scientific Revolutions, which he published in 1962. His big idea was that if we apply a new framework to existing normal science, we slowly begin to drift into new science. Actually, when we challenge existing science, there is prospect of new science taking place. This is his idea, which still is facts, because Einstein drifted away from Newton, which brought us to where humans are today. Kuhn argued that if we drifted away far enough from the original model, right, if we started challenging more and more ideas for that existing model, we will be found in a crisis, in a scientific crisis, okay? And this often happens over the course of a century, right? A century of challenging the norms of normal science. It becomes very interesting, because the natural instinct of humans is to solve problems, right? Humans, they seek resolution to tension. Tension seeks resolution through basic cause and effect, right? So this next phase in the cycle is that the entire model of science gets revolutionized completely, right? So, Einstein reached this point with his theory. And when we reach this revolution, when this revolution is at its zenith, we then reach the paradigm shift. So then a new paradigm gets opened up, and then that science is now considered the norm, right? And this has been happening for centuries. This is how geniuses communicate with each other over time. And I'm using Einstein and Newton as an example here. There's hundreds of them. Thomas Kuhn's final conclusion and point was that paradigm shifts arise when the dominant paradigm underneath what is considered normal is rendered incompatible with the new phenomena. Paradigm equals principles of reference. Shift equals revolutionizing the framework and turning it upside down and standing on top of the shoulders of the giants that came before us to see even further. Let's get into the juicy stuff. How have I used my paradigm shift and how have I been able to tap into it? This is something I've been thinking about very, very clearly all morning. What happens when we apply Coon's cycle of paradigm shift science onto the cycle of life and the cycle of daily life? What would happen then? Before you can actually understand how a paradigm shift can be applied to your life and how you can use paradigm shifts to, how you can use a cycle to reach a paradigm shift, you must understand synthesizing. Let's get into it. I want you to think with me here for a moment. Imagine if Napoleon never studied the battles that Julius Caesar fought centuries before him. Okay? Imagine. And if Isaac Newton never came across the work of Galileo and Kepler. What if, right, instead of reading Principia by Newton, Einstein decided to read a fairy tale about magic fairyland? What do you think would have happened? The point that I'm trying to articulate is that these geniuses consumed information, right? And it's the information that led them to the revolution. This is something that I genuinely ponder when I go on these walks, when I sit in my room, when I'm up at night. How would the world look if these geniuses never synthesized their knowledge? Oh my God. Oh my God. If Einstein never read Principia, if Newton never decided to stand on the shoulder of his giants, and if Napoleon never studied Caesar's battles, what would the world look like? What would it look like? Genius came from them being able to use their mind to physically change the state of the world through cause and effect, right? Through cause and effect over a time horizon. Was this other question? If these geniuses got to where they got in life by consuming the information of the giants that came before them and standing on their shoulders and then taking the right action, what would happen if average people began to adopt the same mental models, the same urgency, and the same curiosity as these geniuses? The truth is, I really do think that every single human being has the desire to leave a mark on the world. Every human being wants to leave behind something more than just a tombstone, right? Every human wants to have a legacy and they want to be remembered. Such a small percentage of humanity is remembered, and such a small percentage of humanity achieves any significance in the fields of science, arts, philosophy, and so little people revolutionize the world. Leave a legacy behind, right? Well, I believe that it comes from adopting the right mental models. I think that it comes from consuming the correct information. Legacy boils down to adopting the correct mental models from the geniuses that came before you, so that you can create a paradigm shift in your reality that allows you to channel your pain into your genius. I'm just going to jump on my laptop and show you the discovery that I made when I chose to integrate Coon's cycle of where he applied the paradigm shift model to normal science, to what happens when we apply that same paradigm shift model to normal life. And the discovery that I found was phenomenal, was mesmerizing.
And here they are.
Okay, here we are. Welcome to part 7 of the video. Okay, so this is the experiment phase. This is where I apply Coon's cycle of science to normal life. Okay, and this is gonna be crazy to witness. So I hope you're ready for this. And yeah, just keep an open mind, keep breathing, keep understanding, and let's get into it. So the 5 pivotal phases of the Coon cycle consist of normal science. Then the model starts to drift based on new information that comes into the field. And then there's a crisis, right? Because all this new information is triggering questions, right? So there's a crisis, but then the revolution happens from solving those problems, and through answering those questions, a revolution happens, and the revolution comes from action, right? And then once we take action on the new information that we receive, our paradigm shifts. So this is how Thomas Kuhn kind of explained it over the course of science, over the course of centuries and centuries of science. And now let's explore what were to happen if we applied it to our life. So this is a model that I've created, um, and yeah, it's very similar. So it consists of normal life. New information comes, so we get A, B to create a big C, right? This is asymmetry, cause and effect, the butterfly effect. 2 points come together to have a big effect. So that's C, which is the new information comes in. From that new information, we have a crisis, right? Pain occurs from the crisis of all this new information, because we pose questions. We realize that there are parts of our normal life that might not be congruent with who we actually want to become. And then the revolution happens, and then the paradigm shifts. So this is kind of like a nutshell of the cycle that I've come up with. And now I'm going to dive into each individual point, and then I'm going to give you an example of how I've used this cycle to change my entire life. So let's start at the beginning. So normal life. Okay, so this is your current reality, right? So this is what you currently believe to be true. And this reality is based on the information that you have gathered up until this point, right? Just like how Einstein gained information from Newton that altered his reality, your current reality is completely based on the information that you've consumed. So it's built on three different things, right? So your thoughts, your belief system, your self-image, is who you are, and that's what consists of your normal life. And these three things are a consequence of the information that you have consumed up until this point. So because you consume new information every single day, over time your thoughts, beliefs, and self-image start to drift, right? They start to go to new places. This is why right now you are a different person than you were when you were 5 years old, right? Um, so then we move into the next stage. Okay, so new information occurs. So you consume information that triggers self-awareness, essentially, right? And then you begin to question if the reality that you have chosen to be in is still serving your higher purpose, right? So you begin to ask these fundamental questions, and then you come to the realization that you actually need to change the fundamental approach of how you see reality. Right, you need to actually start questioning the fundamentals of your belief system, the fundamentals of your thoughts, the fundamentals of your self-image, which is very, very powerful. And this is the second phase of the cycle. Then in the third phase, we get pain. Okay, and a lot of people kind of misconceive or misunderstand me when I say pain. I made a video on it 2 days ago. My first video, pain equals progress. But I'm going to try and synthesize it a bit more right now. So in order to conquer your new reality, you must let go of your old reality, right? Before Caesar could conquer Gaul, he had to leave Rome, and he had to go to unknown lands, right? And that was a painful process. That was physically painful for him to do that. So the root of the pain comes from the discomfort of taking action into creating your new reality, because it's always going to be uncomfortable, right? The unknown. So you must take action into becoming the better version of yourself, which can be highly uncomfortable, and that's the real root of the pain. So someone who did this was obviously Vincent, right? He was a genius, Vincent van Gogh. um, he like channeled his pain and his suffering into creating genius, which was his art. And it got so extreme that he even cut his own ear off, right? And you don't want to go to that level of extremeness, but like I'm trying to illustrate the example here so you can understand it better. So then stage 4 is the revolutionary stage. So like at this point, you are faced with the decision that will change your life. It's this decision is going to change your life. So the question is, where do you channel the pain, right? Because in life, pain is inevitable, but we must choose where to channel it into. So channel 1, because there's only 2 channels, right? There's 2 channels. Channel 1 is short-term fulfillment. So you choose instant gratification. Let's just call it IG, right? You channel your pain into scrolling on Instagram. And what's happening here is you're actually suppressing this pain, right? It's serving as a painkiller, but you're not actually curing it. Painkillers, they don't cure your pain. They only suppress it. And that's what's happening when you choose short-term fulfillment. So you suppress the pain by scrolling on Instagram. So, and then what begins to happen is pain starts to compound. So over time, your short-term, okay, so over time your pain becomes bigger, right? But it's disguised in short-term fulfillment. So you end up questioning, how did I end up here? Like, why am I so sad? What's happening? It's because the pain is compounded over years, right? The cause of you choosing short-term fulfillment, you don't feel the effect in the moment, but 5 years down the line, the effect starts seeping into your life, and that's the delayed effect of the compounding pain. So every cause has an effect. Every action has an opposite reaction, and the reaction of you choosing short-term fulfillment is actually long-term pain. And people don't understand this. So because it's disguised with such nice short-term fulfillment, like going out for drinks, watching Netflix, eating food you shouldn't do, watching porn, all of this stuff, feels great in the moment, but over time that pain will compound and it will affect your life negatively. So you're trading pain for instant relief, in order to get long-term pain, and you never experience the revolutionary phase, which is actually the next phase, right? And the next phase of the paradigm shift, and you never create the paradigm shift that will change your life, right? um, so yeah, it's absolutely crazy, and this is what I just want you to understand, right? This is a fundamental thing that you need to understand. So what's the second channel, right? What's the other option? Okay, long-term fulfillment. So it's about this. The second channel is about trading your short-term pain for long-term progress and growth. So you choose to channel your pain into the revolutionary paradigm shift. So you choose to identify the pain as the progress toward changing the world around you. You make a deal with yourself to lean into the discomfort in exchange for long-term growth, right? And you understand that in order to leave a legacy behind, you must create paradigm shifts. So you sacrifice the short-term fulfillment for the long-term gains. And I'm going to give some profound examples of how I've applied this into my life. Um, but a quick example is the gym, for example. So when you work out, when you're lifting weights, like it hurts in the moment and you're in pain. But then afterwards you get stronger, you think more clearly, you're performing at a higher ability, right? Just because you've made that one little shift. And it's the same with your diet, and it's the same with your, you know, basically everything in your life. Um, so in life, pain is inevitable. The question is, how will you channel it, right? Do you want to channel it into creating the world around you and to becoming a better person and into growing? Or do you want to trade it for the short-term fulfillments that come with all this instant gratification? Um, so when we channel it into option two, we experience the paradigm shift. And the paradigm shift, is so now you have created a short-term window in time and space to create any reality that you want. So you're holding the same talking stick that every great mind in history has held before you. You become a part of the collective consciousness. Okay, this is what's happening when you create this paradigm shift. So since you are still alive in the waking world, you actually have the unique ability to transform the world around you through a cause using your brain. But it's very fundamental. It's imperative to remember that actions have consequences. So you need to choose this cause wisely because it's going to have an effect, right? And this is true power, okay? And this is true power that you access. Um, and yeah, guys, that's basically it. That's basically it. Okay, great. So now I actually want to dive into what I'm gonna do, right? Because like, how am I gonna use this information, and what is my mission, and what are my next steps? Because, you know, like what's next, right? Okay, so how have I used? Let's have some water first, actually. I've used this flywheel to change my life, right? Um, so let's just dive into the Photoshop where I created this thing. You can see all the layers. I made this thing all myself. Um, so we start here, right, with normal life. So you need to begin with a goal, right? You need to begin with understanding that there is something that needs to change within you in order to get an outcome, right? There are inputs that need to happen. There's a specific process that needs to take place in order to have a specific outcome. So my goal was to start a personal brand. I wanted to start, talking online, and I wanted to start, you know, um, yeah, synthesizing my thoughts on the internet, and build a community. But the version of myself that wanted that couldn't achieve it because of limiting beliefs, right? So there was information in my mind that was telling me that I wasn't good enough, that I needed to wait until my braces were off, that I needed to, have some sort of, thing externally before I can actually start achieving this. But then my but then I got new information, right? So then I started learning things, and I started understanding that it's not about likes and it's not about followers. It's all about quality, right? Like one quality person. Like, so if you made it this far into the video, like, this is for you, right? And you are worth more than 100,000 NPCs. So that's one of the new bits of information that I got to create this big, like, C moment, this big asymmetry moment, right? But it wasn't enough, because I realized that I needed pain, right? It's painful to actually go out and film yourself. It's painful to actually digest this new information and then to act on it. It's painful to realize that I needed to let go of the person that thought that, that had these limiting beliefs, and it was painful. But what I did, I channeled that pain into a revolution. So I channeled that pain into creating a revolution in my mind, and becoming the person that can actually do this. And once I accepted that, once I like leaned myself into that discomfort, this happened, right? The paradigm shift. And now here we are. I'm talking on the internet. I've started my personal brand. I'm starting to connect with some of you, and it's a really, really beautiful process. So then now my normal life is that I have a personal brand, right? Goal achieved with the flywheel. But the beauty of it is that it keeps going. It just keeps repeating. So, like, now I've got more goals, right? And my goals is what I'm going to dive into with in the next topic. But the flywheel continues. I understand that now I've got my personal brand. I can't just stop here. I can't just settle for that. I need new information, right? And I need to channel new pain into a revolution that's going to make the paradigm shift happen again. So this is what geniuses did on a day-to-day basis. They wanted to change normal life to get closer to the end destiny by finding new information, channeling pain, getting into the revolutionary phase, and then shifting the paradigm. Okay, so now I have found myself in a very, very unique position, right? I've had such a transformation in my mind and in my mental, and to be honest, I feel like this transformation is something that's been building up in me since the moment I was born. And it's funny because I'm starting to realize things from my childhood that have brought me to this point. And a really great example of that is chiropractic. So both my parents are actually chiropractors, and what they do is they connect the consciousness of the body back to itself. So they believe that the power that made the body heals the body, right? And they believe in this innate intelligence that the body has, for it to kind of fix itself. And I've been receiving those downloads since I was 30 minutes old, right? And right now it's just all starting to make sense. Like the effect of those chiropractic adjustments are only now starting to take place, which is beautiful. The moment that my mind gained consciousness, I feel like it's been working towards this very moment, like in time, right now. What is my mission? Okay, like, what am I gonna do with this consciousness, and what am I gonna do with this talking stick? Well, my mission is to pass the talking stick to you. And is to synthesize ideas into your brain that'll trigger you to take the action of fulfilling your ultimate destiny. Plan to achieve this is very simple. What I'm going to do is this flywheel concept that I've come up with. I'm going to go deeply within that concept, and I'm going to work with a group of 10 individuals, the 10 founding members, and we're going to create a miracle together. We're going to use this flywheel as our north star into achieving any goal that we want over the course of 4 weeks, okay? And The flywheel is not enough. You cannot just implement the flywheel into your life and expect amazing results to happen. What you need are the correct mental models that enhance the flywheel. And these mental models are focus, cause and effect, self-actualization, and transformation. So we're going to dive deeply into these 4 topics, and there might be a 5th topic, there might be a 6th topic, or we might reduce it to 3 topics. We don't know. It's going to be a big experiment that the founding members and myself are going to embark on, but the end goal is to see if we can create a miracle, and we're going to download the step-by-step process of that miracle into the community itself. And the answers that we're going to find is something that I'm very, very curious about. So I'm currently recruiting those 10 members, and I'm very excited to see if we can achieve a miracle together. The community is designed the perfect environment for a powerful paradigm shift to occur. How we're going to do this is by implementing the right community culture, okay? Action takers, deep thinkers, philosophers. Study these people to the very last atom, okay? I want to learn what their deep pain is. I want to learn what their deep desires are. And I want to see if we can alleviate the pain and achieve the desired outcome through the flywheel and through the mental models. It'll be a very, very vulnerable time, for myself and the founding members, but it's going to be it's going to be an important shift for humanity, I believe. And the cool thing is that I'm just going to be documenting the entire process and then uploading it here so that you can actually see what's going on from the outside in. And then when the time comes, you might even be able to join the community yourself and see if you can achieve a goal through these mental models and through this flywheel as well. Sounds like something that you might want to keep track of, then feel free to subscribe to this video if you want. If you like this type of content, and if you want me to make more of these deep videos, you can like it. And if there's anything in this video that you want me to expand on, please comment below, and then I can make a video about that topic as well. And remember, always lean into the discomfort, okay? Follow the pain, do the hard thing, and make sure that you're choosing the right cause, right, in order to get the right effect. Great. Well, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
The easiest way to get into the meditative state is to begin by listening.